Morning, Mikey. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our morning market update for Friday, January 30th of 2026. Oh, I'm going to spin around in just one moment, and we're going to get to action. Okay. Have to get a little cough out of the way. And good morning. Oh my gosh, this might be close. The camera changed a little bit, the angle, because Streamlabs updated, and with that update came just a whole bunch of mess. But here I am. I'm ready to go. I screwed up. I'm ready to go. If you guys are, it is Friday. You guys can see my full stack of bronchi medicine over there. All right, let's kick it off. Happy Friday. Let's start out. S&P's down 0.8%. Nasdaq's down 0.9. Russell down 1.3%, guys. Clear underperformance in economy and small caps is driving this downside. All right, that's not good. Apple beat on iPhone sales. That is actually kind of good news. They had $85.27 billion in revenue versus the projected amount of 78.65, so that's a big beat on iPhone revenue. Greater China revenue crushed it as well, $4 billion higher, but stock was flat and down 0.6 pre-market. So Apple getting punished despite a pretty good report. All right, European equities are positive despite some of the U.S. weakness. So DAX is up 0.7%. Adidas had really strong earnings. Adidas. Overnight headlines: Donald Trump said he's preparing Kevin Warsh to be the next Fed chair nomination. More on him in a little bit. There was an announcement Friday morning. All right, Warsh's odds jumped from 34 to 94% on the news on betting sites. Obviously, Donald Trump just confirmed it. So Kevin Warsh is an interesting pick for Fed chair because, yes, he wants lower rates near term, but he is on board with me and most traders who is a longer-term critic of quantitative easing. So he doesn't like QE on a long-term Fed intervention in support of the markets and large balance sheets, which has been primarily the entire Fed's policy that has been so quantitative easing, quantitative pleasing, printing money and circulating it, which has been inflationary, which has been the backbone of gold rallies and Peter Schiff and his philosophy of gold going higher. And he was right. Look where gold is, right? But Peter Warsh is an interesting pick for Fed chair because, yes, he wants lower rates short term, but he's not a fan of quantitative easing and balance sheet balances. So one could ask the question, will he give Trump what he wants in short-term interest rates, but will he also drain liquidity from the balance sheet and reverse quantitative easing and finally get the Fed out of involvement of the open market? All right, it needs to, look, in 2009 we needed the Fed to rescue the economy. 2025, it's still involved. It's never left. So interesting stuff to keep tabs on. All right, we also had PPI this morning, which sounds like a James Bond gun for some reason, the PPI. But it's not. It's producer price index. So year over year, it came out at 3% annualized. The expectation was 2.7. All right, so slightly more inflationary on the year over year number. The core number is what people mostly care about, and month over month, the core came out at 0.7 versus 0.2. The prior was 0.00. Look, it's higher. This is an inflationary report. There's no justifying it. This does not support a Fed rate cut. So market had a little bit of a sell-off on that news. We'll talk about that in a second. That's where we're at. Okay. Also, we had some Fed commentary. Didn't really say anything. Didn't say much, but it was Fed's Bostich, who is retiring. But hey, you know what? Since we mentioned it and he's retiring, we could give him his moment of fame one more time. He says inflation's too high and needs to come down. Wants clear evidence of return to 2%. Fed should be more patient for now. So he too is saying, hey, we need to just wait and see what happens and not do anything rates. Fed's Bostich, I'm going to miss him. Covered a lot of market stuff with him. I've used his name a lot. Metals massacred. Metal massacre was going to be the first name of this morning market update. In fact, it might be. But gold's down 5.4%, dropped nearly $500 from Thursday's all-time high. Briefly lost the 500 or 5K handle. The low of the move was 49.41. Silver wiped out an entire week of gains, now below 100 again. Copper collapsed in 18 hours, down 3.2% on strong dollar. All right. Carry trade is starting to get in unwind territory with Japanese yen and US dollar. And all this because of Warsh as a nomination for the Fed chair role. All right. Because that's how important of a move that is. And it's also a head scratcher because he's very different than Powell in philosophy and belief. All right. So this could be a major shakeup. Markets are reacting. Remember, they react to the rumor and then buy the rumor, sell the news is the saying. By the time it becomes news, the reaction will have already been priced in. Energy and crypto are both down. Bitcoin's down 6,000. Geez, Ethereum down 7%. Bitcoin's down 6% to 82,000. Holy moly. Today's events, we talked about PPI. We talked about Trump announcement this Friday. We have earnings. We have Chevron, Exxon, Verizon, American Express, all after the bell. Bottom line, Warsh is dominating headlines at the moment, all right, and it's yielding higher strong dollar, higher bond yields. Metals are getting crushed because the inflation plays, and they're suffering the most. And watch this carry trade dynamic as well. Something out of Japan, if any intervention happens, could have a spillover in U.S. futures because a lot of positions are funded with carry trade borrowings from the Japanese yen. Right, let's turn around. Let's do the stories. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to trade today. And so, I'm going to just build the plan for you, and you guys could run with it today because this is going to be one of those days. Okay, let's get in here and talk about the plan. I'm going to spend some time with my kids so my wife gets work done. So I am going to be away actually from the trading room today. But I still got you covered. I'll do the trading plan with you and help you guys out and then let you run off into the woods to trade. All right, let's tell the story. Yesterday, the U.S. session, we opened at 70.14. Okay, that was 70.14. That was our open. 70.10 was the flip zone. We were going to flip bearish below this level. And the reason it was so close to price to flip zone is I wanted one last shot on the long side, but I kind of knew that the long side wasn't really going to hold below the 70.10. So I moved the flip zone up originally in the morning market. Update, I was ready to have it at the 90 as a flip zone. So that's too low. I'd want to be short before that. This thing could, if it falls, the bottom could fall out. So we moved the zone pretty close to where the last shot was for the bulls. So we open. We go south of the flip zone really quick. Means we're off into bearish territory. We sold off to 69.90. It's quite the sell-off. This was my first trade. I kind of held off despite having a higher flip zone and should have been had short and had opportunities to do it. I wasn't, but the break of the 69 and retest was the cue for me, and down and went. That was my short with the room. The room had, I think, almost 80% of people in a room were positive, meaning break even or up money with live capital. And we had a good day because we waited for the level and we kept hitting the thing over the head and riding the short down. You could start to see these sell imbalances where they formed. All right. In the mid 90s, this was a really big thing. And then as well, the 70 and the 60 on the way down. All right. The sell-off continued to get deeper and worse. And we started taking out all kinds of supports from below that we had. All right. The 80 was a big support, annihilated. The 66 was a big support, broken through. The 45 was a big support, broken through. Yesterday, Victorio was telling us in the room, he said, I think I like it 25-26 for a pickup on the ES longer term, which was right here. I said, bro, do you remember the order flow activity we had at 69.05 last week? And he goes, yeah, man, I do remember. And I'm like, I think that's the level, Vicky. It's the level we have to watch for. And I kid you not, right here, real-time trading moment in the room, recorded. We pivot off of 98. So, yeah, we went a little bit lower than 05 either. But we took out all the supports that I could have had for the day. 69.05 was my lowest one before I started scratching my head. All right. So price sets the prior daily low. Get this, guys. The daily low of the price was set at 68.98 quarter. All right, down 115 and 3/4 points from the open. It's 115 points. That's a shellacking. Then we rally. We were like, okay, look, we're gonna get some buy stops. 05 was activated. That's an order flow level that's in play. We touched it. I think we're gonna get some buy stops somewhere maybe up into the 65s. It sounded crazy, but this was kind of how we left the trading room. Why 65? Because you had a lot of selling on the way down. And I mark all these levels because they have influence. Yes, they have influence on the day of to get yourself in the trades, but they have just as much influence in the coming days for supports and resistance. These are live levels nobody could have ever anticipated because they come from order flow. And if you can't anticipate them, then how the heck are you supposed to have them? This is why order flow is so key. It's not just real-time execution. It's future levels that are very hard to come across because you don't have this level of data. This isn't price structure. This is auction levels. All right, that's why it's so key. All right, then we rally all the way up to the 7,000 resistance, which is where we had most of the sell imbalance. Can't make this stuff up. All right, notice all the sell imbalances on the way up. Yeah, we combed through them, but every single one of them ended up being a pausing ground. You could see that here, and then this ended up being the reversal. All right, and then we set the prior day cash close at 92. Not bad, considering just 22 points lower from the open and 93.7 points higher from the low of the session. So what's the story so far? We talk about the story. Well, the story is we had a bearish day out of nowhere. All right, this thing hit, and this is why it worked so well and it extended so far is because nobody expected it. I kept saying the last 2 days in the morning market updates and in our trading room, and anyone in the trading room should be able to stamp this. I kept saying this seems too easy, this bullish side. Everybody should be making money. It's so darn easy to be a bull right now. It's too easy. And I'm like, it can't, yeah, we're going to go down at some point. And boom, that day hits us hard without any expectation, without any pullbacks, just cuts everyone's throat open and leaves them on the ground. That's how markets work. I'd love to have a prettier, cleaner, cuter story to tell you, but that's how it works. You know what I mean? If you're looking up and gazing at the chart, it's coming for your throat. It's a gory, disgusting thing, the markets. All right, so everyone just got butchered. They're on the floor trying to pick up the pieces and find out who they are once again. Well, here's what happens overnight, because that's an important story too. Bulls lifted price just 3 points off the close, the prior day cash close. We're opening into a resistance overnight. All right, then we crater and we keep going down and moving and selling off in very rotationally sound and price structured moves down to overnight low at 69.17 half. All right, we hit that level. That's 77.5 points lower than the prior day cash close. And now we rally up and then we start consolidating where right in the middle of this whole nonsense overnight session. Okay, and not really in the middle of the prior day, more so in the lower third of the prior day, but in the middle of the overnight. So we are consolidating. Okay, we have around 278,000 contracts. That's good volume, and we're getting some volatility. Prashant, I'm going to let you know in a second. Joseph, good morning, sir. New to channel, loving the content, tuned in. SNQFX, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Welcome to the channel, and I'm really happy to hear you're enjoying the content. We got a lot more planned for you. We're just getting started. Marco, congrats. Or no, I said congrats. I said good morning. Congrats for being here, I guess, because it's a Friday, right, Marco? William, good morning as well. Let's continue. All right, so we got the story for the U.S. We got the story overnight. Now let's build the trading plan. I'm not trading today, guys. I'm going to let you make your plan today after I finish the story piece. I always kind of fight with this, is on days I'm not trading, should I give you a plan? On days a professional athlete isn't playing, do you want them to know how they practice or what their setup is going to be? Probably not, right? But get in the press box and shut up, and that's it. That's all we want from you, right? Like at the end of the day, let's keep it real. But I'll give you the ideas, some of the analysis, and you get to make your own plan. Just remember, I'm not putting any skin in the game based on this. So it's going to be volatile today. Yesterday's daily range was 123 points and a quarter. So we know that's a big expansion day. It was a pretty big bearish day after a series of really bullish days. The prior day, that was 53 3/4, less than 40% of it. So we're getting an expansion of volatility. All right, it's Friday. I think it's the 5th week options expiry today. It's the last day of the month. Month-end rebalancing ends to have somewhat of a bullish effect on stock prices as funds have to rebalance their portfolios. So they sell the winners and buy some of the losers to rebalance and get back to their stated goal, right? Their asset mix is what I was looking for. There's a lot of factors here that's putting in some volatility that isn't really directional. The only thing directional is yesterday's move to the downside. So we have an inside day. The overnight range didn't expand out of the low or the high of the prior day. All right. Get ready for a fight inside of what we call Fadi's graveyard. Fadi is one of our TRADEPRO moderators. And I always said, this looks like this price action here looks like it's just been stepped on all over. Like I see tracks in the snow. I've never explained it as good as Fadi. And Fadi said this is just a graveyard for price. Everyone here has been beaten to death. And I don't want to participate here. I want fresh price. I want to get out of this graveyard. So we're in Fadi's graveyard. Here's the part that kind of sucks. We need bears to get below the overnight low. All right. ASAP on the shorts. And then the 68.98. And then sell below would be an extension lower. That would be good. But look where you're coming from, 64. All right, so flip zone for me would be 7,000, and I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to make it the flip zone live. I like this level because if we hold this level, we are technically still in a lower low scenario. Now lower high scenario, my bad. If we get above 7,000, bets are off for the pairs. I think we get buy stops. It could be a really bullish Friday. But if we stay below 7,000, the question is going to be, do we get a new low? A new lower low. That's what we need to continue. This wouldn't be a new lower low. This would. Below that 68.98. All right, so yeah, I would be selling rallies. The rallies I'd want to sell is the highest probability one for me was the mid-90s to low 90s in here. If it doesn't get up there, then the 70 would be just as well of a level to hold, and I need to see some order flow to get me qualified for the trade for the trip down. All right, target be 45.25. If we could break overnight low of 17.5, great. If we could break the 98.5, we're opening up again to the downside. All right. This is the part that I forgot to mention. Okay, we're inside of this middle of today's overnight price action. Lower thirds of yesterday, but still within the entire overnight sessions in the confines of the prior day. All right. And we need fresh price is 70 points higher to get out of this chop zone or 62 points lower. So this is what you're going to have to wait for fresh price to get out of Fadi's graveyard. She's the Undertaker of that graveyard, I guess. But, yeah, look, I'm kind of happy. It lines up with a family day for me, guys. Get ready for chop. This isn't going to be an easy day is what I'm going to tell you. All right, good luck. Come to the webinar I wrote here. We're having a webinar on Tuesday, February 3rd. What I'm going to help you do there is to turn this trading plan now to go into real-time order flow. What you're going to learn is what these pink levels are based on, what the heck they do, how to draw them, how to execute in real time, how to find levels with high probability, low risk entries, how to manage your in-trade risk based on that, and much, much more. I'm basically going to show you everything. The webinar is Tuesday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. So sign up. The link is in the description. I kid you not, Zoom has 500 attendees total max. That's for my plan. And I think we're close to the 500 registrants. But just look, just so this isn't one of those like, oh, you got to set a limit of people if you want this webinar to be attractive. It's not a marketing technique. You can have, I think, as many registrations as you want, but I do believe the first 500 people get locked into the webinar, and the next ones after that get a replay link. I don't know if 500 people are going to show up, but we've hit that many registrants. Just a heads up. Link in the description. Get there. Marco, no problem, brother. I'm going to send you the recording. When you have chance, can you tell us about your February 3rd training? Are you teaching it? Yes. We in this together. This is my first webinar in 2.5 years since stepping away from the business. I'm coming back and showing you the order flow. You know, when I left, admittedly, the order flow approach was organized. It was good, but it wasn't very like systematic. I've turned it more systematic for myself. I'm older. I have kids. I like less stress. Never thought I'd be in this position, but the refined version of order flow trading of the way I used to do it, and it's leveled up a lot. I've leveled up as well. I'm teaching it. I'm also starting a room by myself that's order flow focused, and we're starting a live course that we're going to be teaching in person, lesson by lesson, that doesn't cost any more than it normally would, and it's already a stupidly low price. Like that's pretty much the webinar in a nutshell. It's gonna be me teaching it though, and I'm really excited. I haven't done one in a while. Dare I say I'm even slightly nervous, just a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't done one in a long time, but I'm very excited above everything else. I love you guys. Here's some market stats. We'll round things out. Prashant, I'll tell you the monitors too. You're not in the room anymore, Prashant. Figured something happened, but I'm happy you're still here at the very least. Market stats, S&P 500 on the ES. Yesterday's volume was 1.95 million. I wrote finally a good day. Third highest this year. Zero gamma level, 69.56. By the way, I am going to start to use gamma in my trading strategy. I'm just systemizing it. It's going to be part of the course as well. Big gamma zones, 70.28, 69.78, 69.28. SPX has 441 gamma exposure positive, which again is another kind of crappy thing because it means dealers are going to be selling rallies, buying dips. Implied one-day move is 0.58%. The outer edges of that I'll tell you in the room, but not today because I'm not trading. And then zero gamma 69.28. No, I know. We end this together. It's kind of like not a nervous in a bad way, but just like, oh, here we go. Like pre-game jitters, I should say. You know, I play hockey a lot, and even sometimes, even though it's just a beer league, stupid nonsense game, I get the pregame jitters sometimes. Most times, in most games, I'm like, oh, and then I go out and take a shift, and I'm like, oh, I'm just having fun. It doesn't matter. Just like, I guess when you're a performance person, you want to do the very best, you know? Yeah, Prashant, see, blah, 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 blah. That's what the difference is going to be with this new trading room. There isn't going to be calls. There's going to be something better than that, which is fantastic. I've kind of tuned in that part of the look. Most good traders, when they're actually profitable, the fastest way to drive out consistently profitable traders from your community is to do signals and real-time call-outs. I'm just telling you, having traded for, I don't know, it's 2001, 25 years now, having traded with some crazy people on trading desks, having known them personally. The most successful traders want to know what's your opinion, what's your levels, what are you seeing that they may not be. But the moment you start saying, I'm in, it throws them off mentally. It's one of the worst things you could do for somebody's development is to say, I'm in. I love this. I'm in this trade. It's like, great. Let the person come to that conclusion. So, anywho, look, I love you guys. I'm not going to say much more. I'll see you at the webinar. Some really good stuff coming in. Tamara, hello. We in this together. Thank you for the chat. We are among friends. Rashant, all the power to you, bro. I know you learned a lot in our community. I love you. Still give you a TradePro hockey jersey when I make some more. You guys take care. Have a great day. Remember, it's Friday. Manage that risk, trade, TradePro. There's going to be some volatility in today's session. Keep 7,000 as the flip zone, short below, only long above, and you should have some good opportunities. You will definitely have movement. There won't be a lack of movement today. It's just make sense of it, decipher it, don't get chopped up, and have a limit trade within it today. Today's one of those days you blow out if you don't have any risk tolerance parameters, like how many maximum trades you want to make, what's your maximum stop loss, and how do you enforce that rule. Make sure you have that today. I could see it getting ugly. Take care, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Love you all so much, and have a great rest of your day, and enjoy your weekend with you and your beautiful families. You guys are the best. I love our community. I'll see you Monday at 9 a.m. Bye.